This crime is considered one of the most heinous crimes in Egyptian history, not only because it witnessed the killing of 17 women, but also because its heroes were 2 women who were the first women to be executed in the history of Egypt. The state of panic sparked by the case of the Raya and Sakina gang made their trial historic. Raya and Sakina are 2 sisters who started killing women and burying their bodies in their places of residence, where they lived their normal lives. They formed a gang to kidnap women and kill them in conjunction with Muhammad Abdel Al, Sakina's husband, Hasabala Said, Raya's husband, and 2 others, Arabi Hassan and Abdel Razak. The first report began in mid-January 1920 when Mrs. Zainab Hassan filed a report with the Alexandria police director about the disappearance of her daughter, Nazla, who was 25 years old. Her daughter Nazla disappeared 10 days ago after a woman visited her. She was wearing a gold bracelet and a gold ring on her hand. The report concluded that her daughter was last seen with her friend Sakina, and that she was afraid that something bad would happen to her daughter because of her gold. Sakina was summoned, and this was not the first time that Sakina entered the police station to be questioned about the disappearance of a woman, but Sakina graduated from the department successfully. She skillfully removed all suspicions from herself and nullified all evidence against her. On March 16th, the second report received by the chief prosecutor of Alexandria was from Mahmoud Morsi about the disappearance of his sister Zanuba. Surprisingly, when he told the story of his sister's disappearance, he mentioned the names of Raya and Sakina, but no suspicions were directed against them before the security services realize the seriousness of what is happening or wake up from their astonishment in the face of the previous 2 reports. The police department receives a report from a 15-year-old girl named Ibrahim about the disappearance of her mother, Zanuba Aliwa, 36 years old, a bird seller, and that Sakina was the last who met her mother, Zanuba. At the same time, the governor of Alexandria receives a report from Hassan el-Shanawi, confirming the disappearance of his wife, Nabaya Ali, 20 days ago. After that, rumors spread in Alexandria and other neighboring cities, causing unprecedented panic and terror. The perpetrators remain unknown. The governor of Alexandria received another report from a carpenter named Mohammed Ahmed Ramadan about the disappearance of his 50-year-old wife, Fatima Abdrabbo. Fatima's husband says she came out with 54 pounds and decorated with 18 bracelets. Another report about the disappearance of Salima Ibrahim, the kerosene seller. Then Ibrahim Hamdi, deputy commissioner of the police department, received another report from Mrs. Khadija about the sudden disappearance of her daughter, Firdaus. She was adorned with jewelry costing £60 and a pair of bracelets costing £35. This time, the department summons everyone related to the story of Firdaus's disappearance and tracks her journey from her home until the moment of her disappearance. The surprise was that the name Sakina appeared again, as she was the last person seen with Firdaus. The beginning of the end for these crimes was on the morning of December 11, 1920, when the administration received a signal from a patrol soldier that the body of a woman had been found on the public road. The signal confirmed the presence of bone remains and long hair on the head with the skull bones, and all parts of the body separated from each other. Next to the body was a black gauze veil and a black scarf striped with white. Evidence points to the identity of the body's owner. The police then moved to the street, where the area's scavenger confirmed that he had found the body under an old wash basin in the face of the police officer's confusion, as he did not know the owner of the body and whether she was absent or not. A blind man named Ahmed Morsi Abdo filed a report with the police. The man says in his report that while he was digging inside his room to fetch water and do some plumbing work, he was surprised to find human bones. So he continued digging until he found the rest of the body, which prompted him to report this matter immediately. A young lieutenant at the Al Luban police station is agitated by the exciting report and rushes to the man's house, which is not more than 50 meters away from the police station, for the lieutenant to see the body with his own eyes. He became more enthusiastic about investigating and researching the exciting case, only to discover in the end that he was faced with a new surprise, as his investigations confirmed that Sakina was the one who rented the room in which the man found the body under the floor. Finally, the lieutenant put his hand on the first thread after the two bodies appeared, and the fingers of blame were directed for the first time to Sakina. The prosecution identified the largest prosecution witness in the case, Badia, Raya's daughter, who asked for safety before confessing so that her aunt would not take revenge on her. Indeed, the police reassured her, and she confessed to the incidents in which the women were lured to her aunt's house and the men slaughtered and buried them. In front of the prosecution, and after Raya's confessions, Sakina's confessions came like a loud bomb, as she said, "When my sister Raya moved to the house on Ali Bek Street, while I moved on Morris Street, Raya came to visit me when my leg was swollen, and Raya asked me to go with her to her house. I told her about my inability to walk, but Rhea encouraged me until I got up and went with her. While we were walking, I found her telling me about our neighbor. Hanem, who had bought a few pieces of gold, said to her, 'What's wrong with her?' She said that I had upset her, and when we arrived at Raya's house, I found my husband there, and she added, Abdel al-Hasbla, Raya's husband, Arabi, and Abdel Razak. The room was dark. I was screaming when I saw Hanem's body with her eyes open under the seat. When they sensed my fear, they told me that there were 4 and 8 of us outside, and if I spoke, they would treat me like Hanem. I was afraid, but I told myself it was none of my business, as long as this thing did not happen in my house. After they buried the body, they gave me £3. I went to treat my foot, but when I was returning, I said to myself that they had brought me to be their partner, and to make sure that I would not open my mouth and confess to them. Then in the rest of her confessions, Sakina tells the story of the killing of 17 women and girls, but she confirms that her sister, Raya, was the one who killed the women. She made me her partner in the killing for £3. The child, Badia, Raya's daughter, was placed in one of the parish homes in Alexandria, and then she died there 3 years after the sentences were implemented in 1924, and God decreed that all the perpetrators be tried. In short, Raya did not give birth to a single child out of the 5 she gave birth to, and they died immediately after birth, even the little girl who lived for her. She died years after their execution, leaving no trace of them in history except through documents and papers.